Hi, I'm Teacher Telma, and today we're going to talk about the review of related literature and studies, or the components of Chapter 2. The purposes of Chapter 2 are, first, to tell what research has or has not been done on the problem, and second, to explain or clarify the theoretical rationale of the problem. This chapter also provides a general picture of the research topic. When we talk about related literature, it is composed of discussion of facts and principles to which the present study is related. The materials are usually printed and found in books, encyclopedias, professional journals, magazines, newspapers, and other publications. But you have to remember that only studies which are related in purpose, methods, or findings to the current study should be included in the review. The discussion of such studies should be in the form of a brief critical analysis of the purposes, method of study, principal findings, and conclusions. You also have to clarify the interrelationship of the studies reviewed, point out the weaknesses and strengths of its study. Also, you have to point out how each of the studies reviewed relates to the problem at hand. You have to summarize the review and provide a transition from the past studies to the present one or to the study that you are conducting. The latter should be shown to relate with or evolve from earlier work. In the text, only the last names of the authors are given. Again, we're using the latest edition of the APA. In the case of citations of different works by persons with the same surname, initials should be included with the last names for proper identifications. Framework, on the other hand, refers to the structure. A conceptual framework is the framework that you are developing after rigorous literature review and wanted to test the hypothesis associated with the framework. Theoretical framework consists of the theory or theories that you have reviewed, which will serve as your basis for conceptualizing the conceptual framework. Now let's go to formulating the hypothesis. A hypothesis in general is an assumption that is yet to be proven with sufficient pieces of evidences. A null hypothesis is the hypothesis that a researcher like you is trying to disprove. On the other hand, a research hypothesis or alternative hypothesis is a statement of expectation or prediction that will be tested by the research. So, before formulating your research hypothesis, it is very important to read about the topic of interest to you, because in your hypothesis, you are predicting the relationship between or among the variables in your study. Also, take note that null hypothesis is written in negative form, while alternative hypothesis is stated in the affirmative or in affirmative statements. When we talk about hypothesis, one of the good characteristics of a hypothesis is its testability. It simply means that a hypothesis should be capable of being objectively verified, tested, and even rejected. Aside from those that I have already mentioned, it is also important to indicate the level of significance. The level of significance simply refers to the probability of rejecting the null hypothesis. Another component of Chapter 2 is the definition of terms. Always remember that clear definition should be stated for all important variables, especially if these are to be measured by means of specific instruments or a combination of devices. Definition can be either conceptual or operational or a combination of both. When we say conceptual definition of terms, it refers to the literal meaning of the terms as used in the study, or when you opt or choose to use the operational definition of terms, it simply means that the words have their own meaning as used specifically in the study. Or we say operational definition because we define the terms or the words on how they are used in the study. Again, when we talk about review of related literature or chapter 2, the components are, it is composed of a short introduction, your review of related literature and studies, the construction of theoretical framework and conceptual paradigm. It also includes the formulation of the hypothesis and the definition of terms, especially the variables that are used in the study. Let me end this presentation with this quote. When you give credit where credit is due, it shows your character and class. In writing the review of related literature and studies, always bear in mind that whatever studies or literature that we are going to quote or to include or to point out in our study, it is very important that we cite our sources. Again, I'm teacher Telma, and thank you for listening. You can watch other videos in my channel, Telma Villaflores. Thank you.